Hi, hello, welcome. This is Tej Bhargav from CSA Data Science. Today, I'm here to explain you about the introduction to library functions. My roll number is 22951A67F2. So, coming to the main topic, Python functions. What is Python function? What is a function in the Python? Functions are self-contained program that perform some particular task. Once a function is created by the programmer for a specific task, this function can be called anytime to perform that task. Suppose we want to perform a task several times in such situation. Rather than writing code for particular task repeatedly, we can create a function for that task. We can call it when we want to perform the task. Each function is given a name using which we call it. A function may or may not return a value. Like whenever we are using a functions, like advantage like functions, like whenever we want to repeat any particular procedure several times, we can use a function easily so that we as many as times we to perform that particular task. Like functions are like self-contaminated program. Uh, it can be used by programmer for a specific task as many as times, but they can use it, they can access it. Coming to the advantages of using functions. There are many advantages of using functions. They can reduce duplicate of code in a program. They break the large complex problems. Like if at all there are any problem, biggest problems, they can be by using these functions, we can break that into smaller parts such that and make it easy for accessing it. Next, they help in improving the clarity of code, like making the code easy to understand. Whenever coming to this coding language, understanding every code is much difficult task. But using these functions, we can particularly know, like we can particularly use what type of code we have used. Like using these functions, we can easily understand the code and access it properly. A piece of code can be reused as many as times that we want with the help of these functions. Okay, coming to the types of functions. Mainly functions are of two types, built-in functions and user-defined functions. Built-in functions. Built-in functions are the functions already defined in the Python programming language. We can directly call them whenever. Like there are some functions which are already built in Python. We no need to call these particular, no need to define it particularly. Whenever we call these functions, we can access it. Hence, these functions are known as built-in functions. There are another type which is known as user-defined function. These user-defined functions are those which have to be defined by the user, by the programmer. Then hence he can call for it. Next, Python built-in functions. Like in built-in we have told that there are two types, like Python built-in functions and next is user-defined functions. In built-in functions, we have Python provides a collection of standard code stored in libraries called modules. Programmers can use parts of this library code with the help of their own code to build sophisticated programs. These functions include print, input, eval, int, float, range, and type, etc. Like for example, print is like in order to print any element or print string, anything. Like int is in order to enter the integers. Like float is in order to enter that decimal number. Input is like giving any string in it. It's known as like it is input. It is useful input. Like okay, the Python standard library includes much more functions for programming tasks. The one thing is clear like that. Programmers can use this library code with their own code to build sophisticated programs. Okay. Now functions have three important parts. We have to know this. Okay. First of all, name. Every function has a name that defines the code to be executed. Function name follows the same rules as variable names. A function name is another example of an identifier. Parameters. A function must be called with a certain number of parameters, and each parameter must be correct type. Result type. A function returns a value to its caller. Generally, a function will compute a result and return the value of the result to the client. The client's use of this result must be compatible with the function specified result type. A function's result type and its parameter types can be completely unrelated. Next, the Python. The Python, some of the most popular mathematical functions are defined in the math module. These include trigonometric functions, uh, what we call representation functions, logarithmic functions, angle conversion functions. In addition to mathematical constants like pi and e are also defined in this module. All methods of math functions are used for integer or real type objects, but not for complex numbers. Use the functions of the same name from the C math module if you require complex. Like for the sake of real numbers and rational numbers, we can use normal math module. But whenever we want a complex number, we can use C math module. C indicates complex in it. Like maybe a C math module can be used, for the complex numbers and complex operations that we want to perform in the maths. Next, pi. Pi everyone of us like know the value of pi, right? Pi is a well-known math constant which is defined as the ratio of the circumference up to the diameter of a circle, and its value is 3.141592653589793. Much bigger. Like that's the reason we cannot remember this value. So we directly we can do that. Import math.py. We can access this like math.py 3.141592653589793. Another well-known mathematical constant defined in the math module is E. It is called Euler's number. Euler's number, it is base of the natural logarithm. As we see log E, right? It is Euler's number. And its value is 2.71828828459045. Like it can be depicted on the screen whenever we click math.e, then it can be depicted on the screen like 2.7182881828459045. The value of that Euler e log e. Next, math.exponential. The math.exponential math.exp of parenthesis method returns a float number after raising e math.e to given number. In other words, like exponential of x gives e star star x, nothing but e par x. E par x can be written as exponential of x. Next, like math power of analysis, like math power, like the math.power, the math.pow method receives two float arguments, raises this first raises the first to the second, and returns the result. Yeah. In other words, like POW of 4 comma 4 is equivalent to 4 star star 4. There's nothing but 4 par 4. That's it. From math input, square root, get value from the user. Number is equals to eval of input, enter the number, compute the square root. Root is equals to square sqrt of number, report result, print square root of number is equals to root. From math input sqrt, x is equals to 16. Pass a literal value and display the result. Print sqrt of 16.0. Pass a variable and display the result. Print sqrt of x. Pass an expression. Print sqrt 2 into x minus 5. Assign result to variable y is equals to sqrt of x. Print y. Use of result in an expression y is equals to 2 star sqrt x plus 16 minus 4. Print y. Use result as an argument to a function called y is equals to sqrt of 256.0 print y print sqrt of int of 45. Date time functions. In Python, date, time, and date time classes provides the number of functions to deal with the dates, times, and time intervals. Date and date time are an object in Python. So whenever you want to manipulate them, you actually manipulating objects and not string or timestamps. Whenever you manipulate time or dates, you need to import date time function. The date time classes in Python are categorized into five main classes. Date, manipulate just date, when it manipulates just date like month, day, year, and time. It is time independent of hour, like of the day, like hour, minute, second, microsecond. Daytime, combination of time and date like month, day, year, hour, second, and microsecond. Time delta, a duration of time used for manipulating dates. Next, TZ info, an abstract class for dealing with the time zones. How to use date and date time class. Step 1. Before you run the code for date time, it is important that you import the date time. Example, from date time import date, import underscore date, from date time import time, from date time import date time. These import statements are predefined pieces of functionally in the Python library that let you manipulate date and times without writing any code. Consider the following point before executing the date time code. From date time import date. This line tells the Python interpreter that from the date time module import the date class, we are not writing the code for the date for this date functionality, just improving it for the use. Next, we create an instance of date object from date time import date, from date time import time, from date time import date time. Define main date objects get today's date from the simple today method from the date. Today is equals to date dot today. Get today's date from the simple date like today is equals to date dot today. Print today's date is today like we'll get the date, today's date like for example 26th of February 2023. Next, print date using date dot today. Date.today function has several properties associated with it. We can print individual day, month, year, and many more things. Like today is equals to date.today. Print today's date is comma today. Print out the date's individual component. Today is equals to date.today. Print date components, comma today.day, today.month, today.year. Today's date is like 26th of February 2023. Individual date components can be also executed in Python. Here in our code, we have mentioned date, month, and year separately. The output is printed out as expected. The output is printed out as expected. Today's weekday number. The date dot today function also gives you the weekday number. Here is the weekday table which start with the month as Monday with Monday as 0 and Sunday as 6. Retrieve today's weekday 0 equals to Monday, 6 equals to Sunday. Print today's weekday, comma today dot weekday. Then it gives the weekday of the particular day. Python current date and time now today. Step one, date objects we can also use date time objects in Python, and it gives the date along with the time in hours, minutes, seconds, and milliseconds. From date time import date time, print the current date is the current and date. The current date and time is date time dot now. Output the current date and time is 2508 2020. Like date objects, we have date time objects in Python. It allows us to use the time function and date with date. In the output, we printed the output day out date along with the time. With date time objects, we can also call time class. Suppose we want to print just number current time without the date. Then we can print the date time dot time date time dot now. Then we get the current time. How to format date time and time output with strf type. We need to use strf function to give an output. to give an output. Okay. Each control code resembles different parameters like year, month, weekday, and date. Modulus by modulus y minus year, modulus a by modulus a minus weekday, modulus b by modulus b minus 1, modulus d minus day of the month. In our case, it's modulus y, which resembles year. It prints out the full year with the century, that is, like, for example, on 20. In that, here, if we take 2023, it prints the entire 23. With the help of strf time function, we can also retrieve local system time, date or code. Modulus C indicates the local time and date. Modulus X indicates the local date. Modulus X indicates the local time. The strf function allows us to call the time in any format, 24 hours or 12 hours. Just by defining control method like modulus I by h for hour, modulus m for minute, modulus s for second, one can call time for different formats. Like 12 hours is declared print now dot strf time, modulus I dot modulus m, modulus s dot modulus p. 24 hours is declared print now strf modulus h, modulus m. How to use time delta objects? With time delta objects, you can estimate the time for both future and past. In other words, it is a time span to predict any special date or time. Remember, this function is not printing out the time or date, but something to calculate the future or past. To run time date objects, you need to declare the import file statement first and then execute the code. From date, from date, from date import, from date time import, from date time import date time, from date time import date time delta. Write import statement including the time delta. Print command for time delta. Like print time delta days is equal to 365, hours is equal to 8, minutes is equal to 15. Then we'll get 365 days. 8 is to 15 is to 00. Like time delta like adds up like 365 days to the current time. Print 1 year from now, it will be plus str date time dot now plus time delta of days is equal to 365. Then we'll be getting into this another example of how date after how a time delta can be used to calculate future date from the current date and time. Create a time delta, create a time delta that uses more than one argument. Print in 1 week and 4 days, it will be plus str date time dot now plus time delta weeks is equals to 1, days is equals to 4. This code for time delta will print the date from the 1 week and 4 days from the current. Then it will like it prints the code time delta like date from 1 week and 4 days from the current whatever. Like for example, today is like a Friday. From now 1 week and 4 days. 1 week and 4 days, it will be what it would be. It would be showing it. Next, today is equals to date dot today of parenthesis gets today's date. NYD is equals to date today dot year, comma 1, comma 1. Get New Year day for the same year. Use data date comparison to see if the New Year day has already gone for this year. If it has, use the replace function to get the date for the next year. If NYD is less than today, then print New Year day is already went by modulus day ago. Modulus into today minus NYD dot days. With a time delta function, you can calculate how many days is left or passed by how many days is left or passed by for any special occasion. Here we have calculated the days passed by for the current New Year day. Next, like a calendar of month, this facility is provided by the calendar module, which offers a wide range of import of methods to deal with the monthly calendars. A simple program showing how to use import calendar like is import calendar calendr is equals to calendar dot month uh, 2016,6, the print the calendar of the month of the June is print calendr. Then we'll be getting, for example, if we are get print giving 2016,6, then it gives the entire calendar of the that particular year. That is nothing but 2016. Hence, we'll be getting the calendar of the uh, particular year. For example, if we give 2023,6, if it gives the entire calendar of the particular month. So here, today, like we have learned the Python functions. Like there are two functions, built-in and user-defined. Built-in were also already built in the Python, whereas user-defined is defined by the user. Next, in built-in, we do have Py. We can import, we can access it by using math.py and math.e. Next, we came to know that major portion is like datetime functions. We came to know about how to use the datetime functions and import datetime and uh, and that's it maybe. Yeah. Thank you for. I hope you understand library functions in Python. Here we come to an end of our video. Thanking you.